are some intangibles that those projections failed to take into consideration.
The crowd was going crazy. There's not much in life that's better than that.
You're listening to Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys on the 95.7 The Game Podcast Network.
I wouldn't be coming back and playing. I've accomplished enough in my career. I wouldn't be back if I didn't think I could be great. I really, truly believe that the experiences I had last year and leading into this year, I can be back to the pitcher I was not all that long ago when I won a Cy Young. So, I put in the work. I put in the work for the last, since I was 5 years old, I've been playing baseball, So all that work, my whole life, I still feel like I have something to give. And if I still feel like that, then I want to play.
Hello there. Welcome into the Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys podcast. Sam Lubman here with Joe, the Butcher Boy Shasky. The voice you just heard was newest San Francisco Giant, Justin Verlander, signed to a one-year, $15 million contract. That deal was finalized on Friday. His introductory presser was held on Zoom this morning at 10 a.m. It's Monday, January 13th. And this is episode 115 of the podcast. Joe Shasky, did you know that Justin Verlander has hit 115 batters in his career?
No, I didn't.
So there you go. That's on average about 9 hit by pitches per year. So my obvious question is, what 9 Dodgers will Justin Verlander hit this season?
I'm hoping it starts off with Max Muncy if he's still a Dodger.
Just save all 9 for Muncy. There you go.
Yeah.
He's got enough padding. He's got enough padding. He'll be able to take it. So,
do you like this signing?
I do kind of like this signing, actually, as we jump right into it here. I like it for a multitude of reasons. One, I do think it adds a little bit of star power and cachet to the Giants. Say what you will about where Justin Verlander is at his career. This guy is a superstar. He is a Hall of Famer or a future Hall of Famer. No doubt first ballot Hall of Famer. I think that'll have an impact. And also, I do think, again, he's still a solid pitcher when he's right. We were talking to him today, as you heard in his clip as we came in here. He's confident that he could still pitch to that level, and he wants to prove that this year. And at the end of the day, also, I think another big important quality is that I do like the off-field impact that he will be bringing to this clubhouse. Having a guy like Justin Verlander walk around the clubhouse, I think, and this was brought up today during this presser, was that he can have a similar impact on the Giants' young pitchers of Hayden Birdsong, Kyle Harrison, Landon Root, Mason Black, all those guys, the same way that Randy Johnson had on Tim Lincecum, Matt Cain, Jonathan Sanchez, and Madison Bumgarner once upon a time. So, no, I think this is a very good signing. Is it a change the trajectory of the 2025 season signing? Yeah, probably not. But I'd say it's more of a positive than a negative. What about you?
Well, I like the signing in a vacuum, but I want to preface this by saying this isn't make or break their offseason. I thought that Corbin Burns not signing with the Giants was a big disappointment for a variety of reasons. He's a frontline player in his prime who can help anchor the top of your rotation as the ace. I love Logan Webb. Yeah. I would love him as a 2. Corbin Burns is a prototype number 1. Very much reminds me of Kurt Schilling in the sense of I've got broad shoulders, hop on them, let's go. I got this. Let's shove. This is not that kind of signing.
No.
So I'm disappointed because they dragged their feet on Corbin Burns and they didn't make the trade for Crochet. They didn't go out and sign Max Fried. And they still needed more pitching. So even if they would have landed Corbin Burns, they would have needed to add Justin Verlander, in my estimation, to this rotation. You're going to need 7, 8, 9 starters. 9
dependable starters too. Because
well, 9 different starters have 9 or more starts last year. 9 different starters had 9 or more starts last year. So that's telling to me you need 7, 8, 9 starters. But I like Verlander in a vacuum. It's just not enough. And I understand Giants fans being frustrated with hey, this is not a great offseason. You got Willy Adames, you got Justin Verlander, and it's just not enough. I still think they have a trade in their back pocket, but in a vacuum, I love a 1-year deal with an old-timey legend. This is one of the greatest pitchers of this generation. It's Roger Clemens, the prior generation before, with a little Pedro Martinez. And this generation, it's been Justin Verlander in terms of righties. I'm talking about righties here. I love this signing for all the youngsters. I love this signing on a Tuesday night when it could be Landon Root or Tristan Beck or Keaton Wynn. And instead you get Verlander. Isn't that just more exciting? As a Giants fan, if you're going to games, if you're watching television, wouldn't you rather watch them as an entertainment product? Absolutely. but it's not as good as landing Corbin Burns. So I understand Giants fans' disappointment.
No, and I think if you're looking at it through the view of the Corbin Burns, if you look at this offseason through the view of Corbin Burns, yeah, you're going to be disappointed no matter what happens, unless the Giants swing a big trade for, either a Luis Castillo or a Jose Barrios, or land a big fish like a Pete Alonso. But you mentioned you need these 9 starters, and the Giants do have a pretty solid stable of arms right now. You got Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Hayden Birdsong, Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, Verlander, Mason Black, Landon Roop, Keaton Wynn, and then you got Spencer Bivens and Tristan Beck available as well. They can provide spot starts when you need it. So, I mean, that's 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 starters with 2 swingmen already on the 40-man roster. So you have the numbers that you were kind of saying that you want, Shasky, but you say you need 9 starters, and I try to squeeze in there. You need 9 dependable starters. And when I look at the back half of that group there, Mason Black, Landon Roop, Keaton Wynn, Bivens, and Beck, they've shown promises, but if you're counting on them for major innings this year, I don't know how exactly I feel about that. When you talk about just kind of the frustration this offseason, I feel like there's a hard truth that for Giants fans they have to digest, in that, yes, Corbin Burns would have been great, but overall, if you were expecting the Giants to make leaps and bounds and improve in leaps and bounds through free agency, I think you're always going to be disappointed. I feel like a big part of the Giants' success in 2025, it's going to be incumbent on the young guys on this team taking steps forward. Harrison, Birdsong, Black, Roop, Wynn, Jordan Hicks takes the next step. Like, obviously, I don't
have faith in Jordan Hicks as a starter, but continue.
Yeah, no, but I mean, that's I think kind of why you might be disappointed then. And I do think that for the Giants, yeah, free agency is not going to solve all of your problems. I don't think that was ever on the table. It would have been nice. I mean, sure, it's certainly great when free agency can solve all your problems. But this season's success is going to be on those young pitchers taking that step forward, which hopefully Justin Verlander can help out with that. It's going to be incumbent on guys like Tyler Fitzgerald, who Verlander mentioned today as a guy that kind of caught his attention last year. He needs to develop on the strong second half he had. Elliot Ramos needs to recapture what he found in the first half and be more consistent. Need to see a step forward from Luis Matos. So this is just all a long-winded way of saying, like, free agency was never going to solve all the Giants' problems. The Giants' problems have to be solved internally. And, I think Verlander could be a helpful asset in kind of helping the young pitchers there in achieving that part of the goal.
We can all agree their lineup is nowhere near the Padres or the Dodgers. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
And I would say it's far behind Arizona, even though Arizona's lost some players in free agency. The way to win. I
still don't know who the 4-hitter is right now.
We'll see. Yeah. I mean, we'll get to that in a second. But, like, I look at this, like, the way to compete is through pitching and your pitching staying healthy. And so, obviously, Verlander has got to be healthy because last year was his worst ERA. For 10 straight years, he had not been under a 3.5 ERA until last year. So, to me, it's a one-off. Even though he's 42, I understand he's old. He's what? Nah. These old gunslingers, I believe, still have one more shot at the OK Corral. That's the way I view pitching. And I love having this guy around those youngsters. That being said, I wonder if there's not a trade in the works, whether it be for another starter or a middle-of-the-order bat. I feel like Luciano, Matos, there's a logjam in that outfield, not enough spots. To me, I even question whether Jung-Hoo Lee is going to start the season on this team. I think they've got pieces to move and to flip. I don't know what it gets you. I don't know how desirable they are. Carson Wisenhunt is a name that I keep coming back to.
No, yeah, that's good. I didn't even mention him in that list there.
Is he a guy that could be expendable with – I know he's 42, so he's not going to be here long, but – does it make you more apt to be more aggressive in the trade market, to swing something like a middle of the order bat, like a frontline starter? I wonder about those things when it comes to this team. And especially considering Luciano and Matos and all those guys don't necessarily feel like Posey type of guys.
No, I think if the Giants are serious about being big players in the NL West, I think a trade has to be on the table. After the presser ended today, Verlander hopped off. We had about another 11, 12 minutes with Buster Posey and Zach Managian. And I asked him straight up, like, how would you guys evaluate your offseason and what do you hope to do between now and, spring training starting in a month? And they kind of gave me a cookie cutter answer of, we're happy with what we've done. Don't let that take away from what we didn't do. But he did add that, yeah, the next month they are going to be, looking, leave no stone unturned. They are going to be looking around to try and find that deal, which, yeah, you kind of have to say that in that situation. I agree, Shasky. I think a trade is the next big logical move. I mentioned, Luis Castillo, Jose Barrios, the Mariners, we Giants love making trades with the Mariners. The Blue Jays, I think, is an interesting team to watch because they are trying to lock in Vlad Jr. long-term. And obviously, Vlad Jr. probably has a number and a desire to succeed in his career. The Blue Jays probably have their number, and they need to convince him that he could succeed in his career there. And he has put a hard deadline on spring training starting for those negotiations. So I got to wonder if the Blue Jays don't have a deal locked up with Vlad Jr., which is why I think they've been so hardcore on a lot of these free agency pursuits these last couple of years. If they can't lock up Vlad, I mean, me, I would love to see Vlad Jr. in a Giants uniform. But even if the pivot there is, well, you can't get Vlad, but Jose Barrios, Kevin Gausman, they're both on the trading block now. Maybe those are moves you look at. Kevin Gausman, he knows Buster Posey, obviously. He threw to him in his really great year of 2021. And then, of course, obviously, the Mariners, Luis Castillo, the Mariners, they're always looking to move guys around right now. A fun story, they actually just signed Donovan Solano about an hour ago. So, yeah, Donnie Barrel's still getting some work out there. But yeah, no, the Giants, they're going to have to get creative. And this is where I think Buster's going to face his next kind of big test here is, you are a rookie at this. You got people helping you out. But this is where you kind of, Buster needs to show a little something here and kind of get creative with this front office work here and make that trade to improve the Giants going into next year.
Yeah, I just wonder what's the move up their sleeve? Who's the player? Who are they targeting? If you had it your way, frontline starter, impact bat, what are you trading for?
I think they need an impact bat a little bit more than a frontline starter, only because you could look at the rotation and pitching options they have right now. And as I mentioned earlier, you could identify 2, 3, maybe even 4 candidates of guys who could take steps forward in their performance this year. When you look at the Giants lineup, though, I don't know if those steps forward are as prevalent. I mean, Tyler Fitzgerald obviously had a great stretch last year, but if he doesn't have that 2-3 week stretch where he's hitting bombs every day, how are we feeling about Tyler Fitzgerald going into this year? Elliot Ramos had a great first half. That fade in the second half kind of concerned me there. So I do think they need more beef in this lineup. As I mentioned, we don't know who the number 4 hitter is. Bob Melvin kind of intimated that Willie Adames could open as number 2 hitter. Chapman, he'll obviously be a candidate to be that 4 hitter, but I think he's more of a 5 or 6 hitter. Because the truth is the Giants do not have a legitimate 4 hitter.
Where does Bryce Eldridge fit into this equation?
Well, I know you want to see Eldridge on the opening day roster. Right now, though, take away what you want to have happen, Joe Shasky, and just put on your neutral outside observer cap. Do you truly believe that Bryce Eldridge will be on the opening day roster in 2025?
Well, this is where I think my head will explode if Lamont Wade Jr.'s your starting first baseman.
I think your head might be exploding. I think we might
have
another Matt Beaty situation.
They got
I absolutely agree.
What 3 home runs last year?
No, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just thinking I would say the way the Giants, I think, are going to play this, I think they're going to slow play Eldridge. I don't think they're going to drop him square into the 4 hole on opening day as a 21-year-old next year. I would be surprised if they did that. Now, if Eldridge has a ridiculously monstrous spring and forces the issue, yeah, I think we're singing a different tune. But I think we need to see that happen. To just assume that Bryce Eldridge will be on the opening day roster right now, I don't think we're quite there yet.
No, obviously. I mean, the guy's got basically what does he have, 35 at bats in AA and AAA?
Yeah.
Combined. So, yeah, I mean, it does feel like he's far away. That being said, I would put all my chips into that basket. If he batted .230 this year with 28 jacks and 75 RBIs, we would be going crazy.
Oh, I would take that in a heartbeat. It's just, it's easy to say that now, but again, we'll see what he does against. He'll be in big league camp this spring. We'll see how he handles against big league pitching. I don't know if
you want to mark my words. I bet you he's the best Giant in spring training.
Oh, I agree that I don't think that's a bold take there. You want to mark my words. I think he'll be the best Giant in spring training, and then he'll be the best Sacramento River Cat on opening day. I think that's, again, I hope I'm wrong on that one. But I would not be shocked if Eldridge opens the year in the minor league.
What would the Padres do?
Well,
I think start him at first base, opening weekend. They did it with Tatis Jr. They did it with Jackson Merrill. What would the Dodgers do?
Yeah, they would probably do that too. You're absolutely right. I don't know if I have a pushback on that. And that's
what are you slow playing it for? The sanctity of all the respect that Lamont Wade Jr. has garnered?
Well, again, I'm speculating here. I'm speculating. My guess is they are not doing it to keep Lamont Wade Jr.'s feelings intact. I would hope that that's not the case. If Buster Posey comes out and says, yeah, we really like Lamont Wade Jr. at first base, that's why Bryce Eldridge is going to Sacramento to start the year. Yeah, let's grab our torches and pitchforks and go marching in the streets. No, my guess is going to be some nonsense.
They did pick Austin Slater over Elliot Ramos multiple times.
My inclination would be they're going to say something along the lines of, we want Eldridge to get X amount of at-bats facing this kind of competition at this level of the minor leagues before we determine that he's ready to face big league pitching. That said, though, if you want a reason for hope that things could be different for Eldridge, I mean, I'm kind of curious how maybe Buster Posey's experience coming up through this organization might change that. Because obviously he had a cup of coffee with his team in 2009, probably could have been brought up a little bit sooner. And then they waited a little bit to bring him up. And they had Benji, but
Benji was a very beloved. He was your cleanup hitter before Buster. He's very beloved, Sam.
Yeah, and Lamont Wade Jr. Is Lamont Wade Jr. Benji beloved? No. And honestly, you say that Benji was beloved. I could not wait for the Giants to move off of Benji.
No, I agree. He was one of the worst defensive catchers ever on the heels of Matheny getting, his head concussed so many times. But he was a big fan favorite.
Yeah, he was, because he truly he put the effort and he truly cared, but he was missing.
He's a good guy.
The cleanup hitter is a great guy, great clubhouse guy, which you love. But I feel like also Benji was loved because there weren't really a whole lot of other options to love at the time.
I don't dismiss that
in the lineup. So I don't think you have to run into that problem, but I'm kind of curious if Buster knows that he probably should have came up a lot sooner. Maybe he looks at Bryce Eldridge and realizes that can't be the case this time. Again, I'm grasping at straws here, but my gut feeling tells me that we're going to be frustrated with what team that Bryce Eldridge is playing for come opening day this year.
Yeah, I got this feeling he's breaking camp with this team.
I guess we'll see. I would like for you to be right, and we'll certainly find out there. Some other news that Zach Managian dropped today towards the end was what's going on with Roki Sasaki. Here's what he had to say.
We met with Roki in person, and as of now, we were recently told that we would not be his destination.
There you go. So Roki Sasaki will not be a San Francisco Giant. I believe the Yankees and Cardinals and Diamondbacks were also notified that Roki Sasaki will not be going there. Dodgers, obviously, they're still in the hunt, as always. They always are. Padres still in the hunt. Blue Jays apparently are making a push because, as I mentioned, they're trying to make a push for everybody right now. Obviously, the Giants needed pitching there, but when you hear that Sasaki's out, what's your initial reaction there?
I'm not surprised. I mean, when's the next time we're actually going to land one of these international superstar free agents? Honestly.
Yeah, again, this is what Buster kind of said. It remains to be seen in terms of just whether the Giants' image amongst free agents has changed. Willie Adames, Justin Verlander, those are big pluses there in that. You can throw in Matt Chapman agreeing to the extension. Those are three good feathers in the cap for this Giants front office, say that they are a destination again. Verlander even said that the Giants were not really on his radar when the season started, which means Buster, had to go in from scratch to recruit Verlander to come here. And Verlander was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I love the culture here. I love what you guys got going on here. So that's certainly a positive mark there. But the fact of the matter is the Giants have to start putting more successful seasons, together consistently before guys like Roki Sasaki, who, money's not an issue for Sasaki because he can only sign at a set amount. So it's basically just who has the most attractive roster to join. And the hard truth is the Giants can't really hold face there in that battle with some of the other teams out there. So, he's probably gonna be a Dodger just because we live.
I hate them so much.
It's not right.
You know what though? I will say this: when we are good again, because it'll happen. I don't know when. I hope it's soon. I don't know how much longer.
The Niners and Warriors are not going to keep us afloat forever.
But when we take them down, it's going to be the sweetest. I just can't wait. Like, it really will. We will have earned it. Us Giants fans that have sat through this crap the last 6-7 years, We will have earned our comeuppance.
And it's going to be great. Oh man, you are going to want to be locked into this podcast and the morning roast when that happens, because their downfall will come. It may not be near, but it is going to come. So anyway, with that said, this has been episode 115 of the Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys podcast. One episode for every batter that Justin Verlander has hit in his career. What a fun little stat that was. For Sam Lubman, Joe Shasky, more Giants baseball will be coming. We're 30 days out from pitchers and catchers reporting. We're almost through the long cold winter.
I'm ready to report right now.
We'll be back after the Giants bring that. We'll be back once the Giants make that big trade that we're hoping for. And until then, we'll catch you on the next one.